Hi, everyone. Welcome to our Humans of AI podcast. I'm joined today by Pappa, professor of computer science at the University of Paris 8, working on natural language processing, generative AI, and video ludism. She's here to talk about LitBot, a theatrical chatbot that blends AI and performance to explore how we interact with archives, collective memory, and technology. Anna, let's start with the spark. What were you aiming to explore when you created LitBot? Why did you choose AI, and specifically a chatbot, as your medium for artistic and cultural expression?
Well, everything started in 2022. I mean, we were preparing to celebrate the 400 years from the birth of Molière. And the idea was, okay, why not using Molière's theater to open to people and to do the same style of with AI, so we could try to have the discussion, with characters of Molière, helping with AI. So it started with a very simple, playful idea for celebrating the 200th anniversary of Molière's birth. So a dramaturge, Rocio Berenguer, and performer said we could do a Molière machine, so that it could transport us through time, a little bit like if Don Juan himself could traveling across centuries to seduce us, all these, the characteristics, the features of the character of Don Juan. That was the beginning. From there, the question was, how can we bring AI with a voice from the past? Voice, I mean the character, or what we think when we think of Molière or the characters of Molière. But not to be like an imitation, to be like a new form, a new dialogue between the present and the past. And that was very important, because everyone would speak or write in actual French language, but the theater of 17th century was with particular French, it's not exactly the same like it was. And that was really challenging also. For us, AI was not just a tool in the beginning. I mean, it was a tool. It's always a tool, but we wanted to use it like a mediator. How can we bring humans now think of something of the past, like a literary ghost, like a character, to be it's almost alive when we discuss, and you see that it's a character that you only read about it, and now we can discuss with this character. That was really I don't know, the artistic expression, that's why the chatbot was the best idea, I think, for this kind of bringing alive.
You've talked about how LitBot brings these characters and alt text back to life. Can you maybe share an example of an interaction that really struck you? And what kind of impact did the project have, maybe in making literature feel more relevant for younger audiences, or in giving new life to writers and stories that risked being forgotten? And also, were there any uses or reactions you didn't anticipate where people engaged with LitBot in surprising ways?
The impact, you say, yes. In fact, AI is very powerful. I mean, to the idea we can have now, it's even more. But because every year it becomes better, if we can say so. the first time you asked me about the performance, the interaction with the little bot. Um, in fact, I think the most impressive for me time was when we managed to fine-tune the Fred GPT model with Moliere's play, and the model became to produce alexandrine verses, lines that rhymed and followed, the right rhythm. And that was really impressive. That was one of the most exciting moments I can remember. And then about we thought about education and how we could bring close to younger students this kind of experience, because this is the classical theater and they are not very, let's say, they're not very fond of it. I don't know if they really go and what's plays, but they liked it because we did the experience. Maybe I will tell you more about that at the end, but it was really, really nice. We had the experience with young students. They're not so used to this kind of interaction with, AI, and mostly with a character of classical theater that was really never done before. So yes, the audience, the AI changed the experience completely. I mean, I told you about the middle school students. It was really amazing to see how they interacted with the chatbot. They discussed with Molière. They asked questions um, about love, because it was Don Juan. So Don Juan, he knows a lot about that. And about seduction, they asked him about, I don't know, football. They asked if it was able to know. It was so, it was funny because they asked like he was there. So alike. And yes, I think this, it was more playful, in an immersive way, we can say, because they really felt like if they were, turning this cultural memory, into something alive, and it was all this interaction.
You've talked about how Litbot brings these characters and alt texts back to life. Can you maybe share an example of an interaction that really struck you? And what kind of impact did the project have, maybe in making literature feel more relevant for younger audiences, or in giving new life to writers and stories that risked being forgotten? And also, were there any uses or reactions you didn't anticipate where people engaged with Litbot in surprising ways?
Seriously, the challenges were many. Technical in the beginning, yes. Of course, ethical, artistic. There are a lot of questions about all these use, and what can we obtain if there is, the idea of all that. Technically, the first step was really making the AI responding like Moliere's character, giving the features of a character and being able to have the response like this character. That was the first challenge. So that meant that we have to train a generative model, GPT-2, that was the model in France. We had a small but very clean corpus that we created, of 32 plays, many lines. The results were good, even poetic, because we worked a lot to do this kind of rhymes. Um, and at the beginning, I remember the coherence was really a problem. I mean, after you you could see you have to really change a lot, and after some kind of interaction, you could see that there was no this kind of coherence. So that was the problems we have to deal with in the beginning. And with the next project that followed, Brecht, we changed everything. And when we worked in German on Bertolt Brecht's place, we used a stronger model. The Leo LM, it is a German version of Llama 2. And we applied Clora fin tuning, quantized low rank adaptation, Clora, not that we pronounce Clora, to train the 7 billion parameter model on a single GPU. And that allowed us to reach a very low perplexity, around 3.5. That means that AI is much more consistent and reliable in a stylistic way. And it is also showed how we realized how limited research in the arts is when we have to, we don't have access to this big computing resources, because we need a lot of resources. So as the cultural policies it's a challenge, because we could say that most European funding focuses on industrial innovation, and it's not, they consider that like artistic research. Yet the project like Littlebot or Brecht are exactly that. I mean, small laboratories that they test how AI interacts with human creativity. And I think that is really important to give some space to this kind of research also. It's innovative too, but not in the same, industrial way.
Now, looking ahead, what's next for Litbot and its evolutions? You mentioned that from Litbot you went to Brecht. From Molière to Brecht is a leap. Do you imagine new performances, collaborations, evolutions of the existing chatbots, or new chatbots? And finally, what advice would you give to other artists curious about working with AI, and how to keep it creative, critical, and collaborative?
When we did Molière, we wanted to go further. And that's why we created Brecht. The project Brecht was born. Moving from French to German meant learning different way of thinking, because Brecht's theater is more political. It's more direct. It's not like, you understand, it's not Molière. And AI had to capture that. I mean, you have to, if you want to create the style and to be able, when there is this interaction, to think like, okay, this is Brecht or characters of Brecht speaking, it has to be good. So for me, it was testing how far fine tuning can go in producing the style as thought. When you create the phrase, I mean, it's like, you think of it. Well, it's not exactly the same with AI, of course, but I mean, it's not, I didn't want to be like a surface language. It has to be a little profound. So the next step that we could do is to, about the cultural institution, the project like this. Before go, what would I say to artists is to make models more open, interactive, multilingual version. Why not? Mix different German, French. Why not? I mean, it's a computer. It can do everything. It's not a problem in about languages and all that. So we could have literary characters from different centuries. Imagine that they could discuss each other. It would be interesting, a conversation of, between Molière and Brecht about, I don't know, modern society. It would be absurd, okay, but it would be also fascinating. I don't know. I think it would be lovely to have this kind of interaction. And I could say to young artists now that they are curious to work with AI, and I think that they they don't have to start with technology. First, they have to start with the question um, because what they would like to do, because AI would help them. It would be like a mirror of what they would like to in what they would like to give life, and build something um, with curiosity, even if it's small. And the most interesting results, I think, uh, we can have when we discuss different kind of technology, artists, documentalists, journalists, I don't know, analysts from literature and theater. And these are the most interesting results, I think.
Thank you, Anna. We're reaching the closing of the podcast, your soapbox moment. You have 1 minute. What's the key message you'd like to share with policymakers, funders, the public, or all of the above about AI in the arts? What would you like them to take away from this conversation?
I would say, first of all, that AI is not about replacing creation. It's understanding it better. So the projects like Littlebot or Brecht show that technology can help us to look at our cultural memory in a new way, living, moving, open to different interpretation. You know, this is the immersive and supporting AI in the arts. That means supporting a more reflective, human-centered future anyway. So I think that we should share this experience on a broad, if it's possible, like you said, with philosophers. Why not? I mean, and that could bring to young people the theater, the literature, philosophy. That would be nice.
Thank you, Anna. That's a wonderful conclusion, and I fully share that view. Thank you so much.